Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back after the short break. In continuation of the previous presentation, I would like to take you through the entire process that's involved in the notification, annual reporting, and registration under the Indian Chemical Management Safety Rules and the major impacts it has on the chemical industry. The outline of the presentation would be covering the entire aspects of the draft rule, which is the fourth in number. And I will make you run through entire chapters and various schedules, the timelines once again for a revision, various roles and responsibilities for the manufacturers, importers, and downstream users, the data requirements that has to go into the notification, the process involved in notification, what they do under the evaluation, what has to be submitted during the annual reporting of a substance, the registration stage, what is about the intermediates, the chemical safety reports and the contents in that, the technical dossier evaluations, how it happens, how is the confidentiality being considered, the testings and appeals therein, the SDS, fees, and our take-home message, which would be the implication on the stakeholders in India. So the substance, if more than 1 ton per year, it has to undergo a notification, and all those substances which are listed in the schedule 6, 37 in number as on today, if it is more than 1 ton per year, it has to undergo registration. All those that undergoes notification and registration will be undergoing an evaluation, and based upon the evaluation, the steps like authorization and restriction would be considered by the authorities as on when they come with more data and information within the evaluation process. Annual reporting is one of the key component here, which is different from the other regulations which you heard about, and which has to happen before every 30th of January, and the data which goes into is for the previous calendar year. Under this draft rule, there has to be a clear information in the supply chain, and the chemical properties and the use has to be shared both up and down the supply chain system. Now, taking you through the entire draft, it has 6 chapters and covering from definitions to the various committees, notification, registration, and restriction on uses, safety and accident preparedness, labeling and packaging, and the miscellaneous one, which are more with the penalties and enforcement. So these are the basic 6 chapters, and there are 19 schedules under this chemical management safety rules. Each schedule has its own importance, and each mentions about the various chemical substance and its properties and how it has to be addressed when we are going to comply with the chemical regulations. So the first schedule, schedule 1, speaks about the persistent bioaccumulative and toxic substances and the criteria of assessment for it. Schedule 2 will be more on the priority substances, 750 as on today. The schedule 3 speaks about the authorities who are involved in the implementation of this regulation. Substances that are exempted are in the schedule 4. Information that has to go for notification is covered in schedule 5. Substances that need to be registered comes under the schedule 6. The contents of the dossier is elaborated in schedule 7. There's a format for the chemical safety report that is covered in schedule 8. The safety data sheet, the 16 points are mentioned in schedule 9. 669 substances are listed in the hazardous chemicals, which comes under the schedule 10. About the isolated storage at installations are covered in schedule 11. Schedule 12 speaks about the list of hazardous chemicals for applications, which has to go for the safety and accident preparedness. There are 179 substances plus flammable gas and liquids listed out there in Schedule 12. Schedule 13 speaks about the industrial installations, various types of activities that go like alkylation, condensation, hydrolysis, sulfonation, and so on. This is related to other schedules under the rule. Schedule 14 speaks about the information that has to be furnished by the occupier. Schedule 15 mentions about the off-site emergency plan, and those that has to be covered under the notification of a chemical accident are taken in Schedule 16. 17 speaks about the information, the labels, and 18 speaks about the certificate, the format in which one would be getting it post you do a notification or a registration. Schedule 19 speaks about the fees and the penalties involved in case of not complying with the regulations. In the previous presentation, we did hear about the timelines, but just to make you quickly into this, we anticipate that the rule will come into force, say, in the month of April in 2021. From there on, there is 1 year time given. You may also call it as a transition period before the initial notification period starts. And if the substance is more than 1 ton per year, then you are obliged to undergo an initial notification for the substances that is placed in the Indian market. And there is a deadline for this, that is 6 months. So within that time period, one has to do the notification of the substances. For all the notified substances, annual reporting is must, and it has to happen before 30th of January the next year. For the new substances, one has to notify 90 days prior to it being placed in the market in the Indian territory. And the registration for the 37 substances listed as on today in Schedule 6 has to happen within 18 months from the rule coming into force, and is applicable for all those substances that are more than 1 ton per year, and if it is falling within the Schedule 6 category. But what about those substances which are in Schedule 6 but less than 1 ton? Authorities is going to come back on this with their own recommendation, and one need to abide by it then. So the Schedule 6 substances are all those which are coming in the category of very persistent, very bioaccumulative, carcinogenic, toxic for reproduction, and endocrine disruptors. The roles and obligations. We spoke about the roles of for that substance has to be, if it's more than 1 ton, it has to be notified. For new substances, 90 days in prior to it placing the market. Annual reporting has to be done for all notified substances. Information has to be shared up and down the supply chain. Registration of substances in Schedule 6. SDS of priority substances or hazardous substances or intermediate to be as per GHS version 8. Safety audit report for substances exceeding threshold quantity of the Schedule 11 and 12. And here the important takeaway for is for the downstream users. Downstream users shall not procure substances, mixtures, intermediates, or articles in which substances or intermediates have not been notified or registered if they are applicable. So this is very important thing for the downstream users to ensure that the products they buy from the upline are complying with the regulation. We spoke about the notification. So what is that has to go into the notification to happen? And to make it happen, you can do the notification using a notifier. You could be your own notifier, but for all those who are from overseas doing business in India, they can appoint a legal representative as their notifier, and the information of the legal entity and the submitter has to be mentioned in the format as specified here on the screen. And the chemical identifiers has to be clearly mentioned out. We have to name the IUPAC name, the CAS number of the chemical substances, the purity in terms of its percentage, and details of all impurities contained in concentration of greater than 0.1% weight by weight. The third section under the notification data requirement is the chemical structure. We have to write all those informations about the chemical and its details, including the molecular weight, simplified molecular inputs, line entry, system with smiles, molecular structural formulas, information on optical activity and the typical ratio isomers if applicable, the type of substance, whether it's a monoconstituent, multi-constituent, or it's a UV-CV substance for that matter, and the spectral data has to be part of the document, which can be obtained using an HPLC, GC, or LCMS. And then it has to also be supported with data from the infrared spectra, UV spectra, NMR, and mass spectra. Hazardous classification of the substances, it has to be as per the norms of GHS, the version 8. So that's most important thing. So that means all the SDS we want to prepare has to comply with the GHS version 8, and that's the basis of the hazard classification. For the chemicals, the primary, secondary, and all such uses has to be elaborated. One has to mention the name of the downstream users within the submission, and equally important is the tonnage band that is going to be placed in the Indian territory. So the bands are 1 to 10, 10 to 100, 100,000, and above 1,000 tons per annum. Also, one has to inform about the actual quantity per annum that is going to be placed. That comes more when it has to go along with its importance comes more when you're going to apply for the annual reporting. And the maximum storage capacity and the maximum quantity stored. Important here also is that all those information in the notification must be based on test reports from NABL or GLP labs or any other published authentic study report. So what's the process? The notifier submits the information to the authorities. Authorities will initially go for the preliminary check, and if they find some informations are missing, they will send the information back to the notifier so that they get the full information upfront. Thereafter, if it is to the satisfaction, they will check if any confidential business information is being sought by the notifier. If yes, it will pass through a technical legal committee, and they will ensure that CBI is being maintained. If there is no CBI check request, then the document is approved by the legal authorities and the substance would enter into the notified substance register. Once the substance is entered in the notified substance register, a certification number and a number as well as a certificate has been released, and this will help the notifier and through an authorized representative, their client can place substance in the market. For all those new chemicals, it is mandatory that they are being notified 90 days prior to it placing in the market. The process here as well remains the same for the normal notification. So all those substances that are notified and are in the substance register will be evaluated by the authorities, and they will be doing a substance data availability check, evaluation of all the collected data, check the potential risk or substances that's been put for use. Authorities would then recommend their findings to the scientific committee for addition or deletion of a substance to the Schedule 6. The scientific committee would recommend it to the steering committee, and the steering committee would then go for a public consultation, which normally takes 60 days. Once the input is received from the consultation from the public, the steering committee would take it forward for a final recommendation to the central government to add or to delete a substance from the Schedule 6. So we need to keep a track on the Schedule 6 substances with a substance meant for registration. Annual reporting, as we discussed earlier, before 30th of Jan every year, actual quantities of substance placed in the market for the previous calendar year has to be reported, and any change or addition to the information submitted at the time of notification has to be brought out during the annual reporting, which is mandatory. This is for the existing chemicals, it's already notified, and for the new chemicals, once it gets notified. Registration for those more than 1 ton per annum, there's already a prescribed method available, but for those less than 1 ton, the authorities will inform and they will give the recommendation how to get it done. But for the substances in articles, if they happen to be in Schedule 6, and if they are intended or likely to be released from the article under normal or foreseeable conditions of use, and such substance if in present in the article in quantities totaling over 1 ton per year, it has to be registered. So this registration has to happen within 18 months from the date of its addition to the Schedule 6, and there is an option for joint registration for the same substances. What all data need to go into the registration dossier? So this comes under Schedule 7. The brief information of each registrant has to be brought out. In case of an overseas client placing substance in India, they have to make the submission through a legal representative. There's an authorized representative. So that information has to go in there. The chemical identifiers has to be elaborated. But here, if you see the last section of the table, the nature and order of magnitude of any additives also need to be brought out. So more information has to come into the registration dossier compared to that in the notification dossier. Chemical structure details has to be mentioned. So the initial ones are similar to what has gone into the notification, but the last column here again brings out more detail because the description of the analytical method or the appropriate bibliographic references for the identification of substance for the identification of impurities and additives has to be clearly brought out. Identified chemical uses, the calendar year of registration, an indication of the tonnage used for its own use has to be mentioned. The form of the substance, whether and its physical state has to be elaborated. Concentration or the concentration range of the substance and the quantities of substance in articles made available to the downstream user has to be mentioned in the dossier. Brief general description of the identified uses. Information on waste quantities and composition of the waste resulting from the manufacturing of the substance and the use in the articles and identified use has to be mentioned in the dossier. A brief description of the manufacturing process and all the identified use that the registrant wants to cover in accordance with the standardized use descriptors. These uses shall be included in the exposure scenario in the case if it is 1 to 10 tons per annum, and a chemical safety report as the case may be if the quantity is more than 10 tons per annum. Classification and labeling information. This has to bring out very clearly the hazard classification, the labels involved in that, and the specific concentration limit wherever it's applicable. The draft has not brought out details of the content that has to go into the robust study summaries. But once the final version is coming out, we are expecting that there will be much more elaboration made on the contents that has to go into the robust study summaries. But the document as on today speaks that the main use category has to be elaborated, whether it's industrial use, professional use, or a use for the consumers. Specifications for industrial and professional use has to be mentioned very clearly in the dossier, whether it's used in a closed system or the use resulting in inclusion into a matrix. It's a non-dispersive use or it's a dispersive use. The significant route of exposures through human, oral, dermal, or inhalatory has to be elaborated. Exposure scenario in the water, air, solid, and soil has to be mentioned. And the pattern of exposure also need to be brought out very clearly in the dossier for the registration. So the process here, once the entire document has been prepared, and if it is eligible for a registration, that is, if it is more than 1 tons per year, falling in the Schedule 6, then the document is submitted to the chemical unit. Once again, a preliminary check happens, more information required, the document goes back to the notifier, and if the documents are information is what you call it satisfactory, they will check for the CBI if any applicable. Once the CBI activity is taken care of, the chemistry and the tox unit would evaluate the document, that data been submitted. If it is satisfactory, a registration number and a certificate is being released. And any updates to that, technical dossier has to be made within 30 days of, and the new information or change, if any, has to be brought out. But in case the evaluated documents by the unit and the chemistry unit finds that it is lacking some information, the process has been repeated. It goes back to the notifier, and until the satisfactory data is available with the authorities, the certificate will not be released, stating that the registration will not happen. For the Schedule 6 chemicals, this 18 months is the timeline we have got to comply with the registration process. Intermediate substances to be transformed into another substance upon use, and they are transported, stored, or will be transported and stored shall comply with the rules. All intermediate substances which are included in Schedule 6 are stored in a facility, either for in situ consumption or otherwise shall be registered as per the rule. However, for the transported intermediates included in Schedule 6 shall be registered as under, like the registration up to 1000 tons per year shall only contain details of physical and chemical properties in technical dossier. Registration greater than 1000 tons per year shall contain all information as required in the technical dossier, and in addition, a chemical safety report will be required. Intermediate substances not included in Schedule 6 are exempted from registration, but it has to be notified. Chemical safety assessment for volume greater than 10 tons per year, one has to perform a chemical safety assessment and submit a CSR during the notification or registration, as the case may be. But if the volumes are less than 10 tons per year, they have to submit an exposure scenario at the time of notification and registration. So CSR Schedule 8 has two parts, Part 1 and Part 2. Part 1 is the summary of risk management measures. It contains the declaration that risk management measures have been implemented and declaration that the risk management measures are communicated. Part 2 speaks about the identity of the substance and physical and chemical properties, manufacture and uses, classification and labeling, environmental fate properties, human health hazard assessment, human health hazard assessment of physico-chemical properties, environmental hazard assessment, its persistent bioaccumulative toxic assessment, exposure assessment, and the risk characterization. The technical dossier evaluation process is again routed through the chemistry and toxic unit, and they will do the evaluation within 90 days. If it is found okay, a registration number and a certificate has been released. If not okay, the information goes back to the notifier for getting additional data, and it has to be submitted within 90 days from the date they have been informed about. So if the data is not reaching the authorities within 90 days from being requested for, they can seek an application for extension for further 90 days. If that happens, and that is okay, a registration number and a certificate is released. However, if the substance registration, the data given for the substance registration are not adequate, substance registration gets suspended. During that process, it is requested not to place substance in the market, and because this can lead to a lot of complexity thereafter. However, in that process, and when the substance is under suspension stage, one can continue giving all the data to the authorities. They will evaluate it, and they found okay, the suspension will be withdrawn. Thereafter, the product can be placed in the market. The evaluation process, which undergoes for a restriction for all those that has been notified, is carried out by the authorities considering the priority substance unit, and when the findings are being given to the steering committee for the substance inclusion in Schedule 2 for its restricted use, for it has to be prohibited or not, or to be included in the Schedule 10, 11 and 12. But prior to giving any recommendation to the authorities, a public consultation is always been made. Say now the substance falls in the category of a restriction. If it has been identified so, but someone wants to put it in the market, they can submit a request for authorization for restricted use. And if deemed fit, authorization will be granted for 4 years. And for further use beyond 4 years, one has to submit a reapplication so that the extension is further been given, but it's only for additional 4 years. Beyond that, it won't be granted. Sorry. In case someone wants to apply for a CBI, then they have to very clearly mention the reasons which all information need to be kept confidential, why such information should be kept confidential, and provide documentary evidences or information to validate the request. Submitted cases for such CBI will be kept confidential. However, the confidentiality is not applicable for the classification of a substance and the endpoint summaries submitted. All the test methodologies that has to be followed is as per the OECD guidelines. And in case there are multiple options for testing, the notifier can use any one of the options, but that has to be in concurrence of the risk assessment committee. That is mandatory. And it clearly states that the testing has to be under the NABL and GLP labs in India. For any appeal, 90 days is the time period given for making an appeal, and the steering committee will get back to us within 60 days of such application made for an appeal. But there is a fee that is involved for this appeal. SDS, the 16 points is clearly mentioned in the draft, and it has to follow the GHS version 8. And for the priority substances less than 10 tons, exposure scenario is mandatory. For priority substance greater than 10 tons, a chemical safety assessment report and a safety report is mandatory. Articles if containing concentration of substance that are in priority list greater than 0.1% weight by weight, one has to prepare an SDS for that as well. Fees for the notification registration is based on the tonnage band and is based upon the category of the industries like the MSMEs and other industries. All those not within MSMEs are considered as other entities. So from 1 to 10 tons per annum till more than 1,000 tons per annum, there is a clear demarcation made for each tonnage band. Against that, there is a fees already identified by the authorities. Likewise, for the registration, there is a tonnage band allocation being made, and the fees has been mentioned towards that particular tonnage band. If one has to request for an authorization for a use of restricted substances, there's a fees of 1,000. There's a fees involved in that, and for the request for confidentiality also, and for filing an appeal. Likewise, for the notification updates and for updates to registration, against each tonnage band, a fee has been allocated by the authorities. So for the joint registration, the option is open. Also, the fee allocation has been made for MSMEs and for other entities, depending upon the tonnage band. This comes under the Rule 10 of Part 10 of the draft. So the bottom line for all of us who are placing the substances in India and manufacturing it in India, that we have to get it notified and the certification has to be obtained under Rule 8. If the substance fall under the category for registration, a registration certificate also need to be obtained after submitting the dossier for that purpose. Once you get that, one can continue with the business. But if the substance is registration has been suspended, do not place substance in the market till suspension is revoked or withdrawn. If there is no notification certificate with you and still continuing placing substance in the market, penalties are involved on per day basis of the violation of the rule. Same is for the downstream users. They should not buy any product or substances which has not been notified. So the takeaway for all of us is here that we should not miss the notification registration deadline once the rule comes into force. For any questions, you can please write to us and visit our website gpcgateway.com. We'll be ready to answer all your questions there. Thank you for your patience listening. If you have any questions, you can please ask.